Hi guys, I'm Brooke, and this is Pippa sleeping back here, of course. And we are traveling full-time in my 1990 Coleman Pop Up, if you can't tell. That's what we're in. We're in a pop-up camper. If you haven't seen any of our videos, check them out. But today we're not really talking about camping and the pop-up life per se, but I am going to talk about my 3 years I have of being alcohol free, of being sober, etc. because I feel like there is a lot of association with alcohol and camping and relaxing that I feel like I should address the fact that I am a sober camper traveler and that you can do this without having to have a drink in your hand to watch the sunset or around a campfire or anything like that and not feel the pressure to have to do so. I feel like I should address it. I want to talk about it. It's something I'm really proud of, actually. I'm very happy that I've been able to accomplish 3 years with pretty minimal amounts of craving. I just wanted to kind of like bring you up to speed on my little journey. If this is something that interests you, you can go ahead and like, subscribe, share, comment, share your story down below. But if it doesn't, and you just want to wait for the camping content and things like that, you are more than welcome to check out any of my other videos. But today we're going to be talking about alcohol-free specifically. I never had an issue with any other substances, but I did have a huge issue with using alcohol as a coping mechanism. Alcohol became something that was so big in my life that I couldn't not address it. So growing up, my dad always drank a ton. I was around drinking a lot on his side of the family. My mom's side, not so much. My mom would maybe have like a margarita or something with dinner. For her, it was less of like a standard, whereas for my dad, it was something that was always a part of my upbringing and growing up. And then obviously as I got older, my drinking then increased as getting into college, just kind of party. And I feel like I noticed it more and more that it was definitely a part that was in our family. It was very focused around alcohol and drinking, and it was something that I was happy to be a part of. I'm not blaming them. I'm not saying anything different. It was just very much a part of it, and I think that's why it took me a long time to figure out that I had an issue, because it was just every kind of family function, every time we went out to dinner, we always had drinks. If we were visiting or going on vacation or things like that, like we just always kind of had drinks around. I had friends that were drinking a lot with me at the time when I was younger, and then I got diagnosed with cancer, so I couldn't drink, and I was pretty young when I got diagnosed with cancer. I was 23, 24, right around that time. I was going through treatment like over a birthday, so that's why it's a little different. And so I had to then completely stop. So at the height of most people's going out phases, I had to then go through cancer treatment instead. And I was living in downtown Nashville, and I had to kind of remove myself from that part of my life of meeting up with people at bars. And very quickly after I was in remission and could drink again, I very, very quickly took a turn with alcohol to use that as a coping mechanism after my cancer treatment. I still really struggle with it. I'm not going to talk about cancer at all on this channel. I'm not going to tell you the story. I'm not going to address it at all. Behind the scenes, it's something that's very much that I still struggle with for some reason. I have been in therapy for the last 7 years over it, and it's just something that looms over my life, and I just don't want to address it publicly to be triggered over and over again. It's just not something I want to do, so that is one of my boundaries. But I will say that alcohol became a big factor in me trying to piece all of that together. I, like a lot of people after being in remission, had to go straight back to work and had to go back to normal life and just kind of get over it. Had a mortgage to pay, I had a career to start. The entire time I was doing my chemotherapy, I was in cosmetology school, so I was starting my career as a hairstylist, and I was really itching to not get behind in life, which I know now sounds like incredibly toxic, and someone probably should have stopped me and said, hey, take 6 months off, take a year off, heal yourself mentally, physically, and everything, and try to work through this before you throw yourself into something else. But I just threw myself into my work, and with hairstyling came partying lifestyle also. drinking culture was very much a part of being a hairstylist, and I think a lot of former hairstylists would know that, and just networking and going out and things like that turned into me drinking at home every day to deal with the actual like physical pain I was in. Not only is hairstyling hard on your body, but after your body has been through a trauma, I could not, like, towards the end of the day sometimes continue standing that long. And let me tell you, tequila takes the edge off right away. Tequila was my drink of choice. I know that that sounds like super unhinged, but I love tequila. I loved margaritas. I love Mexican food. Like the saltiness of it, everything like that was just my thing, and it progressed. And while I was, you know, working in a salon, it wasn't as bad because I had to be on somebody else's schedule. But when I moved out of Nashville and opened my own business was when things really took a turn, because I was then my own boss. I was running my own business. I had moved away from my family, and I was kind of doing things alone. And on top of all of the kind of trauma that was just right below the surface was me having to run a business for the first time alone without really any kind of emotional or even physical support from other people. Because, you know, when you're running a business on your own and you're the artist, you have to be the person who does everything. And it really, really got to me. And because no one was, you know, checking in on me, or I could cancel appointments or move them around, I just like took off drinking so much. On my office days, I always drank from the time I, you know, kind of got going with my work early in the day till I couldn't function anymore. And the nice part about that is that there was Uber Eats and Instacart and all of those things to bring me everything I needed. I didn't need to leave the house on those days, so I really took advantage of that. And it became just a way to numb out the stress and anxiety of owning my business for the first time, doing it all by myself, and like trying to process everything that had happened to me the couple years before. It really kind of came to a head in 2019. I had tried earlier in the year to stop drinking, and I just could not. It was something that I was not able to, for some reason, just quit kind of cold turkey. I made an excuse all the time. I was up to drinking almost a fifth of tequila a day, which is not normal at all. I don't know why. I guess because I was doing it alone, but I know people knew that that's what I was doing. And I just cut down my work hours. I was only working 3 days a week. On those extra 4 days a week, I could drink whenever I wanted. And when I was working, I would keep alcohol obviously in the salon for clients. And so when I was cleaning up after my last client, I was able to start drinking even at my salon, which was not a good thing. Just really brought it to the point of like, I knew it was not sustainable. It was obviously super expensive to be drinking like that, especially because I wasn't drinking just like bottom shelf tequila. I had certain tequilas that I really preferred because I was barely mixing them anymore. I know that that's how you know that you're like getting to the point where you like can't taste it. I was literally just doing soda water tequila and like those true lemon packets, and that was it, and just drinking them all night. And so I really was struggling, and I reached out to the Stop Drinking subreddit group and kind of posted in there about my history, my family's history, everything like that, and got a lot of support. So if you are like dabbling in with maybe that you have an issue with alcohol or you're using it improperly, maybe reach out to that subreddit. There's so many people with so many inspiring stories and so many relatable stories because it's all, you know, self-run. Reddit is just like a public forum. So I really found a lot of good resources in there. I started therapy, started working with it through obviously a therapist. I then found the book This Naked Mind by Annie Grace. I decided to listen to it on my road trip out to Colorado. I was taking a couple weeks off, and I just was like, I have to get this under control. I have to do something about this. And so somebody had recommended me that book, and I listened to it on Audible while I was driving out there so I could hear every single detail, and it quite literally changed my life. It's a very fact-based book. It just tells you the facts surrounding about alcohol, what it affects in your body, how alcohol, you know, affects every single part of what you're trying to numb out. So even just learning about the fact that it was making my anxiety so high, even though I thought it it was calming me and things like that were so eye-opening to learn, and like the half-life of alcohol being much longer in our systems and affecting us much longer than you realize. There's just so much good information in the book, and I cannot recommend it enough because it is not religion based, it is not really biased in any way, and it's not a shame based form of information. So I found AA and Al-Anon and all of those to be very shame-based and religion-based, and I am not religious in any way. I just didn't want to feel even worse about what I knew I was already doing to myself. And I didn't want to be a part of something that was going to make me feel bad about it, because I already felt bad. I already knew I had a problem. I think most people know when they are abusing some sort of substance, whether it's food, alcohol, cigarettes, another drug, something like that. So I didn't want to join another group just to make me feel bad about it. And so reading this book was a very, pulling you out of yourself and learning the facts and then being able to apply them to your life. And everybody who I've recommended this book to has also felt the same about it, and I have given that title out to probably hundreds of people at this point, and I have gotten nothing but good feedback about it because it is very down the middle. It doesn't have a spin on it really, like AA or things like that kind of do. It's just not for everyone, and if you need that support group and you need that kind of rehabilitation, that is totally fine. I'm not shaming anybody for in that. It just didn't work for me, and I feel like that's why it's important for me to share what did work for me, because recovery is not one size fits all. You have to see what works for you to keep you sustainable. And the nice part about Annie Grace is that she has a podcast, she has Facebook support groups, she has different little trial kind of doing alcohol-free challenges and things like that, that she has an entire surrounding support as well. It's just different from doing something that's the classic 12-step AA program. So if you feel like you might have a problem with alcohol, I would highly recommend checking out the book. It's usually free if you haven't had Audible before and you just do a free trial download. That's what I did. I didn't even pay for the Audible. I feel like I should probably go back and pay for the book now that I've had so much success with it. But I think it's great that she has that free trial with the Audible, because I think it makes it accessible to so many people. I also know there are people who have found it at their local libraries. So if you can't afford to purchase the book, you can do it that way too. You can just check it out from the library or on Libby if you have the library app. Libby, then you can get that resource for free as well, and her podcast is free, and I'm pretty sure the Facebook group is free as well. So there are more resources than just AA. I will tell you, when you're on the road, there are a lot of people in the outdoors community that also don't drink. I know the culture classically has very much been around drinking and having beers around the campfire and cocktails and things like that, or a glass of wine just in case you're nervous at night. I feel like more and more we're obviously seeing so many more non-alcoholic options come out, so many alternative options. And even I went to another outdoors event and they had it listed on their flyer that they had non-alcoholic drinks available or mocktails, and I want to help bring that message that you don't have to be somebody who is super party, good time, weekender kind of thing. And when you want to be out on the road, you can be sober and be on the road. And I would say that the most accepting people of my sobriety have been when I've been on the road, because there are a lot of people who have had past addiction issues and things like that who do travel full time, because now they have freed up all of this time in their mind and in their day, and even just the monetary aspect of obviously not drinking. It's way less expensive to be sober and can travel more. And I've met more people who are sober on the road than people who are in the bar scene, bar culture, like I had in the past. at old apartments. This is just a little bit about my story. Like I said, if you want to share yours below, that's totally fine, but please don't shame anybody. Please don't shame how people decided to get sober, or their time, or if they're struggling, etc. Let's all be supportive of people in the comments. But I just wanted to bring this to you guys, and I hope that maybe this inspired someone to go download the book and to maybe listen to it on a road trip, or kind of just take a second look at what they're using to cope. It's nothing to be ashamed about. It's just, we're all human and we all have our vices, and unfortunately for me, I had to remove alcohol completely out of my life. I don't think I'll ever be able to manage it as a like fun, just a once in a while kind of thing, and that's okay if you have to do that too. It's just the same way as if dairy's making you super sick and you have to cut that out of your diet. It's all about your health and your mental health, and I don't think we should be ashamed of doing things that are good for us. And I applaud you for even maybe watching to the end or downloading the resource, even if you don't read it or you don't look up the podcast or something like that, just having it in your back pocket. I'm proud of you for even taking a look at maybe some of your behaviors around alcohol. Just know you have me out here. I am staying sober. I just celebrated 3 years yesterday, as when I'm recording this video, and so just looking at yourself and your patterns of behavior, I'm super proud of people. It's really, really, really hard to look at yourself and, you know, kind of pull apart some of those behaviors that we all do to cope these days. And I'm proud that you're even willing to be open to watching a video like this. So I will see you guys soon, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Bye, Pippa.